in this podcast, we are focused on bringing awareness to every single soul out there of how beautiful and how to truly unleash the power that we all hold within us. Hi, everybody. My name is Alexa Peña, and I am your host for Walking Manifestator. In this episode, I want to share how important it is for you to truly understand your whys. And at this point, I'm sure you've heard that term going around a lot, right? People tell you, well, you need to understand what you want in your goals in order for you to achieve what it is that you are setting out for. However, if you are in a situation where a lot of us have been, or maybe you're still in that situation, where all you feel like you're going through is disheartening situations, or maybe you feel like everything is happening in a situation where like you're barely getting out of one when you already feel like you're getting into something else. And it can become a very daunting and overwhelming experience. I know that when I first started into the industry of real estate, it was something super overwhelming. I remember being my first 2 years thinking, did I really make the best choice for me and my family? And the why was so important for that pivotal success that I've been able to continue to grow into. And I want to share this from a perspective of where I've learned it from very successful individuals, coming from somebody that wasn't a successful individual. Because for the most part, I feel like sometimes you feel like, well, the only reason why they're doing good is because they had parents or they had a family friend that was like giving them all the key components of what they needed to do in order for them to achieve, the success that they have now. And for a lot of us, we didn't grow up with people like that in our life. Or maybe you grew up with parents, but they didn't really push you in that direction. Maybe they just told you, hey, go and get a job. And as long as you find a job, you're going to be good because you got your education and you're on your way to success. However, we are in 2023, and as we all know, there are so many self-made millionaires nowadays, people that have been able to break from the norm, break from the traditional routes, and really achieve massive success. I am somebody proud to say that I have been consistently generating over six figures, and my goal in the next few months is to reach that seven-figure mark. And that is only the tip of the iceberg. Why? Because for me, my why is a lot bigger than when I started. I, at one point in time, just wanted to know what it felt like to make $100,000. That was for me something that I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, if I can achieve 100,000, I remember making 16,000 at one point in my life and then looking at the applications, when you try and get like a credit card and they ask you like, how much do you make? I remember always putting 100,000, even though that was nowhere near what I was making, right? Needless to say, that was something that subconsciously I was manifesting into my reality. I was manifesting this into fruition because of the fact that I wanted to give my family something better than I had. Now, the reason why having your whys so dialed in is because no matter what you're going through in life, when you understand what you're doing it for, it completely changes your paradigm. A lot of the times we feel as if the reason why we're doing something is because maybe we want a nicer car, or maybe you want to buy your first home, or maybe you just want to say, I have $10,000 in my savings account. And although those are great goals to have, I would encourage you to really find a motivation that is pivotal for your success. You see, I've read many books, and a lot of the books from Bob Proctor, from Joe Dispenza to, there's just so many authors that continue to say the same thing over and over again. And it's When you are in a situation of working for a servicing of others, that has a direct ripple effect back to you and what you're trying to achieve in life. So when you're in a situation where all you're thinking about is you, the overall goal is not as impactful as it could be if you were working for a goal that is bigger than what you can even fathom at this moment. And let me explain, and I'm going to put myself in that situation. So as I just mentioned, making 100,000 was like my goal, right? I was like, okay, like making 100,000, that would be so amazing. Like the things I can do with that. Oh my gosh. And I remember, and I mentioned this in the last episode. So if you haven't read, haven't listened to that, I would highly encourage you to listen to it. I was sharing about my story, right? I shared how I did not grow up with parents. I grew up with my grandparents. And for the longest time in my life, I was just so consumed by everything that I was lacking versus focusing on the fact that I at least had a family, right? I was so consumed on the fact that we were living in a storage room versus being thankful for the fact that we had a roof over our heads, whether that be a home or not, it was a roof over our heads. And a lot of the times, those same situations that are happening in your life on the day to day, it makes you forget about what it is that you truly have now that you should be thankful for. By understanding how important for me at that time it was to find a true purpose, that was something that I can strongly and wholeheartedly say helped me continue to grow my business to where it is now. I remember that at one point in time, it was something that I just personally felt as if I wasn't satisfied. I remember I was making money. I was making more than I had ever really seen in my overall my life. And I was just not happy. I wasn't really fulfilled because I felt like there was more to life. I felt like I had a stronger message that I wanted to convey to people. And that was honestly just calling my name, telling me I need to share with more people what it is that I've gone through in order for more people to believe in themselves, for you to believe in yourself. You right now that are lending me your ear, I want to share how important all those things that you've been through have actually played a huge factor in your growth. They've played a huge factor to allow you to be the version that you envision. A lot of the times, we're so consumed with how things should be versus focusing on the fact that, and this is something that the whole show is called Walking Manifestator because you're a manifestator. You are somebody that can manifest whatever it is. And this is not just some like taboo stuff. Like, this is actually things that are proven because we're all energy, we are all frequencies. And there is this quote, and I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read off of it because I don't want to botch it. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. Now, it also says it can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Albert Einstein. So, this is something so important because I feel like a lot of the times we're so consumed with thinking, well, this is the way it has to be. This is the way that my family has taught me, and therefore my only why is like my kids, right? My only why is my goal of a house or the ones that we just mentioned. But when you find truly what is your passion, what is that thing that you would say, I would do this regardless if I was getting paid? Like, I'm sitting here taking time out of my Sunday afternoon, talking to my microphone here with the full belief that this audio message is going to reach somebody and change somebody's life. Because I know what profound difference the things that I've learned up until this point in my life have made for me. And I know that speaking from experience is going to help somebody else understand how much of a true power they have, regardless of what they've been through. So, this is a a passion for me. This is something that I am doing regardless if I'm getting paid for it or not. And a lot of the times we get so consumed on the monetary side of things that we forget to really live our passions. We forget to really discover what it is that makes you happy. So many of us have been told by society, well, the only way to really create any wealth is by going and getting a job and working hard at it. And at 65 years old, you get to retire, and good luck, at that point, because we can go into this whole other conversation of how unstable that really is, especially with what I've seen with my grandparents. If it wasn't because of me helping them out, they would really be struggling. This is something that we all know. It is not a guaranteed system. The only thing that is guaranteed is what you're doing for yourself. What are you doing right now to help you become that better version of yourself? You see, I'm 26 years old right now. I am one of the most successful real estate agents here in my area. I am constantly growing my business. I'm in a situation where I have now my Airbnb. I'm looking to acquire a new one. I'm looking to open up a car rental business. I am just expanding in so many things. And I don't share this from a side of, look at what I have. By no means. I share this from a side of, you can do all of these things. You can truly achieve anything that your heart desires. Because when you find something that motivates you in life, when you find something that just brings that joy to your life, it is something so beautiful, because now you don't feel like a zombie, just waking up every day clueless as to what you're really working for. And I think that that is something so pivotal in many of our lives, because the more we understand our why, the more we understand what it is that truly defines your goal. My goal is not going to be the same as your goal, and somebody else's goal is not going to be the same as your goal. However, I heard this thing and it really resonated with me. If we're talking about spirit, if we're talking about energies, if we're talking about our higher self, think about this for a second. Have you ever been told by somebody that says, oh, these are my goals, like this is what I want to do in my life? And you hear that message and it's kind of like, oh, that's amazing for you, but that's not what I want. Have you ever had that? I know I have. I've had amazing people tell me some of their goals, and I'm like, I see you doing that. That's amazing. And you see, when people would tell me, like, you're so inspiring, Alexa, like, I've had so many of my clients, and it just brings me so much joy, send me messages and tell me, like, Alexa, I just love how motivational you are. Like, all the wisdom that you share, like, it has really changed my life, and it's really helped me see things in a different perspective. Like, the way that you used to be and who you are now, it has completely changed. Those are the things that, for me, when I'm in a situation of seeing, like, what am I doing in any aspect of my life, it's trying to motivate other people, because I find that when you motivate somebody versus tearing them down, you get the best version of them. But a lot of us, we've been so conditioned to believe in the worst case scenario. And a lot of us, we've been conditioned to believe they're going to let you down. Therefore, you should have your guard up. But if we're talking about spirit and energy and our higher self, we need to remember that a lot of these things are going to resonate with somebody, some of you, because of the reason that there's something that you've already created. There's a paradigm in this world, there's a different reality, there's a different dimension where you've already accomplished what it is that you just thought of, that you just resonated with, that you were like, oh my gosh, that feels nice. That is my why, that is my purpose. But you see, you go and you share that with somebody that maybe doesn't believe in you, or maybe doesn't see the vision that you do, and they tear you down and they say, yeah, well, that's unrealistic. Yeah, well, how are you going to do it if there's already a million other people doing it? But how are you going to do it if there's already all these other companies doing it? But how are you going to get that person if that person is already with something else that is more in alignment with them? You see, I beg to differ. And the reason why you went through all the things that you went through was because that was going to allow you to share your message in the most unique and authentic way possible, because only you know what that was like. And when I started seeing things like that, because I was like, at one point, right, your mind can get the best of you. And I was like, but why would I want to be a motivational speaker? Why would I want to be a manifestation coach when there's all these other people out there that they're amazing? Like I follow so many like Reagan, like Tony Robbins. I mean, there's so many people. Joe Dispenza, I mentioned him multiple times. And I used to psych myself out. And I used to think, like, how can I compete with some of these amazing gurus? But that's the thing. They've all been through a different story. None of them have been through my story. None of them can share from my perspective. And this is what I want to really dial in with you, because the more that you understand that your superpower is that unique story that you've had, and by you finding your why and by you finding that true passion that just lights you up, there's nothing that can stop you. Nothing that can get in the way of you achieving what you were here for. You see, I have this theory that we are all connected. I have this theory that we are all one. We are all part of Source. We are all part of God. And for me, I used to feel guilty of saying that out loud. I used to say, how can I say that I am connected to God? How can I say that I am somebody that was made in his image? How can I say that I am somebody that has the power to manifest these things? However, I had this calling, and I feel like a lot of people that have gone through a spiritual journey, they feel it at one point or the other. And for me, the calling was when I read that verse in the Bible that was really saying, that we're made in God's image. It just dawned on me. And it was, we are made in his image, therefore we are part of him. Therefore we are an extension of him. Therefore all the powers are within us. We have the power to manifest and create our reality. We have the power to choose how we react to the adversity that we have in our life. We have the power to grow. We are the only species in this planet that doesn't have a preconditioned habit. And let me explain. I read this book that was talking about how, a lion just kind of knows that they have to go and kill and hunt and eat, right? We are the only ones that were not born with that. We were conditioned by our parents. We were conditioned by society. We were conditioned by exterior factors that made us a certain way, but you were not born feeling insecure about yourself. You were not born feeling unworthy. You were not born feeling unloved. Things in your exterior reality happened that made you feel that way. But the reality is that you have this power within you to become aware of those things, channel them to really feed your truest and highest why. You see, when I understood that, my life just changed. And every time when I have any situation in my life happen, I observe it and I say, what can I learn from this? What is it teaching me? What am I manifesting subconsciously into this reality right now? And understanding my whys, understanding that for me, one of my biggest motivators right now is that I want to empower the youth. I want to share this message, and I've actually been taking some coaching. I am speaking it into existence. I'm going to be giving my first TED Talk pretty soon, so mark my words on that. It's October 29th, and it's been about maybe 3 weeks since I've been taking those courses, and I'm super excited. I'm just super excited for that journey. And that's the thing. If you would have asked me that question 3 years ago, if I saw myself doing that, I would have been like, no way. But I've made space for that growth. I've made space to believe in myself. I've made space to believe that I am worthy, no matter of what I've been through, no matter of me not having the most extensive educational background, no matter of the fact that there's all these components that we could sit here and say, oh yeah, that's the reason why you can't do it. Actually, I beg to differ. Those are the reasons why I can. And those are the exact same reasons why you can also. I share this time and time again because I feel that the only way to really embed anything into your subconscious is by repetition. I read the same audiobooks on a daily basis. Like I'll finish one and then I'm going back to the one that I finished, and then I'm finishing one and I'm going back to the one that I finished. Or I read this paragraph and I'm reading it and I'm reading it again because I really want to embody that. I really want to internalize that message. I don't want it to just be another thing that I read and then just kind of, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And that's the only way that you grow. That's the only way that you really actually understand how important what you're doing in this life is. And for me, our youth is something that is just so important because if you can change the way that kids think, you can change the generations to come. You see, the reason why the media is so stuck on feeding the teens, the kids, all this garbage, right? Because that's the reality. There's so much negativity out there, is because they know that by controlling them, they're controlling future generations. You see, one of my mentors said that a lot of the people that have been in the system for welfare, their family, their parents, the parents before them, they were on welfare. And I've had family members on welfare. My gosh, at one point in my life when I was 18 years old, I got WIC. Like, those are things that I'm not speaking from a situation of being high and mighty. I'm speaking from a situation of experience. And you see, it takes you breaking that paradigm. It takes you breaking that chain in order for you to truly make a difference. You want to know what making $100,000 feels like? Study the materials, study the things that are going to get you closer to that. Don't let somebody that doesn't believe deter you from that goal. You see, sometimes people are just so envious of other people's growth that they rather bring them down with them instead of uplifting them and telling them, you know what, I believe in you. You know what, you got this. You know what, you are that amazing person that can achieve all those things. And if you're surrounding yourself around people that are just being negative and just bringing you down, I would strongly encourage you to assess that situation, because everything in this life is happening the way that you're also allowing it to happen. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I am super excited to continue to embark this journey with you all. This is truly a passion of mine. And I know that at one point in time, and this is already in the works, I'm going to continue to travel the globe. I'm going to go to every country and just share this message with more people about how truly it does not matter how broken you once were. You can change your paradigm, understand your purpose, and I promise you, the sky's the limit. I'll talk to you on the next one.